They say nature has a rhythm. The rustle of leaves, the call of an owl, the howl of wind through empty branches. But the forest behind our house, it didn't rustle. It didn't howl. It hummed. At first we thought it was the wind, a low, pulsing sound that rolled in once the sun dipped below the trees. You could barely hear it unless everything else was silent. But once you noticed it, you couldn't unhear it. It started the first week we moved in. A fresh start, my dad said. A chance to reconnect with nature and leave the noise of the city behind. My mom smiled and nodded, but I could see the unease in her eyes when we drove past the tree line, and the signal on her phone died completely. There were no neighbors, no street lights, just our house and that ancient, dense forest behind it, so thick you couldn't see more than a few steps in. The first night, it hummed. It was soft, almost like a lullaby, a low, drawn-out tone that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. My dad blamed the old heating system. My mom thought it was crickets. But I knew better. I could feel it vibrating in my chest. It happened every night, always after sunset, always coming from the woods. About a week in, our dog, Toby, stopped going outside after dark. He would whimper at the back door, tail between his legs, ears flattened. One night he barked frantically at the forest, then cowered under the kitchen table. He wouldn't come out until morning. We laughed at first, but then things started to change. The humming got louder. It wasn't just noise, it was rhythmic, pulsing, like it had a beat, a pattern, like it wanted us to listen. And then my little sister, Mia, said something that froze my blood. She was 5, sweet, curious, and too honest for her own good. I saw people in the trees, she whispered one night at dinner. My dad chuckled. Probably animals, sweetheart. No, she said, shaking her head. They don't blink. They hum with the forest. My mom dropped her fork. The sound of it clattering on the plate felt louder than it should have. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat by my window, staring at the forest, daring something to move. At first, nothing, just shadows. Then a flicker, something pale between the trees. I leaned closer, pressing my face against the cold glass. There another flicker, a shape, thin, tall, motionless, and behind it, several more, dozens, maybe hundreds, all standing perfectly still, facing our house. Not moving. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and they were gone. The next morning I told my parents. They brushed it off. You've been watching too many scary videos, Dad said. But Mia believed me. They're getting closer, she whispered. They want us to sing with them. Over the next few days, the power started flickering at night. Light bulbs burst. Radios crackled with static. And the humming? It moved. It wasn't just coming from the forest anymore. It was under the floorboards and the walls, in our bodies. One night, the walls began to vibrate with it like they were resonating. The pictures on the shelves shook. The plates in the cabinets rattled. I swear I heard whispers under the hum. Voices layered into the sound, calling our names. We tried to leave. Packed bags, loaded the car. My dad turned the key. Nothing. The engine was fine that morning, but now it just clicked. The battery was dead. The humming grew louder, almost angry. We ran back inside. That night, Mia disappeared. We searched every room, every closet, the attic, the basement. My mom was screaming. My dad was calling the police, though there was no signal. And then I noticed the back door, wide open. A trail of tiny footprints in the dirt led to the forest. We grabbed flashlights and ran after her. The humming was deafening now, not just sound pressure. Like the air itself was vibrating. I could barely hear my dad calling her name. We found her deep in the woods, standing in a clearing, barefoot, arms at her sides. She was staring at them. A ring of pale figures, human-shaped but wrong. Too tall, limbs too long, faces featureless except for mouths wide open, not moving, not breathing, just humming. Mia didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just smiled. "They're singing," she whispered. "They told me your song is almost ready." We dragged her back home, locked every door, covered the windows, burned sage, played loud music. We did everything we could think of, but nothing worked. That night, we all heard it. A voice clear, human whispered through the humming, "Sing." The forest had moved. It was no longer behind the house. It was around us. The next morning, we found symbols carved into the trees surrounding the house. Circles, eyes, mouths, and in the backyard Mia was humming, perfectly in tune. We never escaped. We tried. God knows we tried. But every road led back to the house. The forest, it doesn't let go. We've learned to live with the humming. We don't speak about it. We don't go outside after dark. And no one sings anymore, except Mia. She hums in her sleep. And sometimes she's not alone. Because once you hear the forest's song, it never leaves you. And someday you'll hum back